Good. I'm doing fine.
Excellent. We appreciate you coming on our show. This is the first year we've been doing the pregame show for the Panthers. And, one question that we ask a lot of guys is before they got in the game, and with you, when you were being recruited out of high school by the likes of Notre Dame and Pitt and Penn State, what had you planned on doing? Like, if football professionally hadn't come around, what would Mike Ditka be doing today? I
went to school to be a dentist.
Oh, wow.
A dentist?
Wow.
Well, there's money there.
I know. Man, if Mike Ditka was my dentist,
well, there's money there, but I took pre-dental courses, and the reason is my high school coach was just a great guy, and he thought it'd be a great idea if I went to Pitt and became a dentist, and then came home and practiced. A couple of his other players had done that. But ironically, I don't think any of the people are not equipped to have teeth anymore, so I don't know
That's
if it would have worked or not.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Coach.
Well, football worked out for you for a long time. I mean, you came into the league in 1961. You coached in 1999. Even to this day, you're heavily involved. How did you manage to stay current and avoid the game passing you by over that 38-year active career?
Well, I'm not sure it didn't pass me by. It passed me by as a player. I had to retire. It passed me by as a coach. I got fired. So, I'm doing what, I know a little bit about the game. I understand the game. I don't try to get too technical about it. Football is football, Usually, if you have the better players, usually you can beat the other guy. That's just about it. There's a lot of factors that go into that: speed, size, quickness, talent, and that's usually a fact.
That's insane. Just the perils of being a football player. We ask these players all the time, when did you realize that you were going to be able to play the sport that you love for a living? So I'll ask you a different question. When did you realize, Coach, that you could be a coach? I mean, you're with the Cowboys. Things are winding down with the career. But to go on and be an assistant coach under Tom Landry, that's ballsy.
That was Coach Landry. He asked me. I had no desire to be a coach. I had never thought about being a coach. It wasn't my desire. I was in the nightclub business, good money. We had some good businesses, restaurants, nightclubs, things like that. And I thought I was going to get very wealthy doing that stuff. And he said to me very out of the blue, he said, "I'd like to hire you to coach the receivers and the special teams." And whoa. Then I had to change gears in the middle of the road and think, and it was the greatest decision I ever made. But it was basically whatever Coach Landry saw in me as a player, he thought that he could develop something as a coach. And my career wouldn't have happened if it wouldn't have been for Coach Landry. He picked up my career when it was basically over as a player, and he hired me as a player. I spent 4 great years with the Cowboys. We won a Super Bowl. Then he hired me as a coach, and we won as a coach. I won as an assistant coach a couple times. Was there when he won his first Super Bowl. And then he told me called me in one day. He said, "Mr. Halas wants to talk to you." And I said, "What about?" He said, "I think he wants to hire you to coach the Bears." And I asked him what he thought. He said, "I think you're ready."
Wow.
And, so he was very instrumental in my career, probably more than anybody. I mean, well, he was more than anybody. No problem about it.
Just the fact that you three guys were talking on the phone, Papa Bear and Landry and Ditka, were just talking on the phone one day. Yeah, you want to be a coach. That is, you've lived the life, Coach Ditka. That's pretty crazy right there. What kind of, when we think about Tom Landry, we think of the fedora and the sport coat and a really stern look. But what kind of guy was Tom Landry off the field?
He had 3 things in his life that were important, and he was the same as Lombardi and Halas: faith, family, and football in that order. Their faith was first, their family was second, and of course, they were great football people. Tom and Vince came from the Giants. Vince got the Green Bay job, and Tom got the Cowboy job 2 years later, I believe, and the rest is history. You're talking about 2 of the greatest coaches who had an impact on the NFL as much as anybody. And the guy who really started the NFL and persevered in hard times and made the Bears and the NFL what it is was George Halas. Whether people like that or not, that's a fact. There was him and Art Rooney and Wellington Mara and a couple guys that they really persevered through some really, really tough times to make it work, and they did make it work.
We're talking with Coach Mike Ditka on the Rise Guys Carolina Kickoff.
Coach, you experienced this coaching the Saints. Pete Carroll said if he came back to the league, he would have to draft the guys that he wanted. So do you think for a coach to be successful now, he's got to basically be the GM too?
I think what a coach has to do, he has to have the right people, and they all have to be on the same page.
Right.
His general manager, his director of player personnel, director of scouting, everybody's got to be on the same page. They've got to operate with the general manager to get the best job done. It's not that you need all the power, but you can't be in a struggle where you're fighting for one guy or the next guy. Everybody has to understand, here's our weakness, here's what we need, here's what we're going to get, here's how we're going to do this. So when that is all laid out and people understand that, then you have a chance to succeed. If you don't do that, you got a lot of problems, because there's a lot of egos in this world. Everybody wants to say, well, this and then I did this and I did that, that was my guy. Doesn't matter whose guy it was. He's got to be the guy for you that can play and make your team better.
You were the very first tight end ever inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You did a lot to revolutionize what was kind of an unknown position. Who besides you paved the way to Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates and these big pass-catching, basically oversized receivers we know today?
Well, in those days, there were a lot of good football players at that position. I mean, Monty Sickles. Ron Kramer was the greatest blocking tight end I've ever seen. Played in Green Bay and Detroit. And he was a great friend. He's passed away, but just a terrific, four-letter man in Michigan. And then, of course, John Mackey. There's nobody in football that ran with a football after he caught it better than John Mackey. John Mackey, of course, was a running back at Syracuse, and when he came into pro ball and he became a tight end, he had all those running back traits. And not only was he a great receiver, but once he caught the ball, it was tough to get him on the ground. And so when I think, and I know I'm leaving people out. I don't mean to leave people out because my mind's not as good as it used to be. So
you and me both,
there
Coach.
were just a whole lot of good ones. I mean, and some probably didn't get the recognition they deserved. I played with the Billy Truax down in Texas. He was a good tight end. I played with, I think if I get my name, Pettis Norman, who was really a great blocking tight end also. So there were a lot of them. I mean, it's hard to say that there's one or two. And I go through, I think of all the guys that played in the league, and there were so many of them. I just happened to be fortunate. When I came into the league, I really thought I was going to be a linebacker, because most of my college career, recognition in college was as a defensive player. And Halas told me I was going to play tight end, and that's what I played. And he really created the position for me in the sense that, my God, I caught 58 balls my first year, I think.
Wow.
And in pro ball, and I think I got 44 my whole college career. I mean, or something like that. It's crazy. So whatever he saw, I'm glad he saw it, and it really helped me. Plus, I came into the Bears when they had a quarterback named Bill Wade who loved to throw the football to somebody that would go catch it, and that was a guy that liked to go catch it. So he threw it to me a lot.
Yeah.
Coach, Ron Rivera, the Panthers this year, there's high expectations. I know Sean Payton came back into the fold with the Saints, but the Panthers with a good defense have a real good shot to win the division.
I love Ron Rivera, guys. I think he's a dandy. I think he got a good one, and I think he got a guy that understands what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. You got a great quarterback down there. You got some good receivers. You got a lot of the pieces are in place. In saying that, and right now that with the Saints and Sean coming back, they're going to be the team you're going to have to beat. And everybody talks about Atlanta. Well, Atlanta hasn't found a way to get over that hump yet. So I think you got to look at New Orleans and Atlanta as your key competition. Not that the other teams aren't going to be tough; they're all going to be tough. I'm just saying, but I think the Panthers, if they do the right things now on the defensive side of the ball, I think that Cam Newton's fun to watch for me. Now I don't know about other people what they think. I really don't care what people think. I like to watch people play because I think he handles himself very well on and off the field. I think that's a tribute to the organization and the coaches too. But Sean, he's a good kid. I mean, Cam's a good kid. It's fun. It would be fun to see him in that organization have a lot of success.
Coach Mike Dick on the Rise Guys Carolina Kickoff. Coach, we're just down the road from Clemson, just a few hours away from Aiken, South Carolina. We need to know an update on the refrigerator, William Perry. Have you heard anything? We heard he was in a chair now. We've heard that he was close to maybe passing away. Have you heard anything out of William Perry?
Well, he is in a wheelchair all the time, and he's not doing very well.
I hate that.
That's terrible.
Everybody does. I mean, there was not a better guy in the world than William. I mean, William had a personality as big as him. I mean, he was fun. It was fun to be around him.
Yeah.
He was a happy-go-lucky guy who, he was just fun to coach and fun to be around, and he enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Guys say, well, he was big and this and listen. He could dunk for basketball when I got him at 315 pounds. Now, he put on a lot of weight. He put on a lot of weight, but he was as good an athlete as we had on our defense. And that's saying a lot because we had some good athletes on our defense.
Yeah, you did.
That's fantastic. I want to ask you one more question about a guy you probably don't see a whole lot these days. Roger Staubach, he was there when you were in Dallas. I found out just last week, this was news to me, that he went on to be the wealthiest football player in the history of the in-state holdings. Now, would you say maybe you inspired him a little bit to that end, just because I know you also have your entrepreneurial adventures?
Roger Staubach to make it short, he's the greatest I've ever been around. Now, I've been around a lot, and I think that, when Roger wasn't the starter in the beginning, but Craig Morton was. And I was on the coaching staff after I got done playing, and Roger was still playing. And, we went in, Dan Reeves and I, and we went in and talked to Tom and said, listen, if we're going to take the next step as a football team, I think we're going to do it with Roger Staubach. And he wasn't quite sure. He knew it, but he just didn't think Roger had enough experience. Well, let me tell you something. It's leadership you can't buy.
Right.
You can't. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership is something when you see it, you want to be around it, you want to follow it, and that's the way Roger was. I mean, he was that kind of a guy. He was a team guy. Nothing was about him.
Right.
He didn't care about him. I mean, he played the game. He played it hard. He played it selfishly. Unselfishly rather. He ran when he had to run. He threw when he had to throw. But he was a great leader on our football team and respected by everybody on our offense and our defense. And the Cowboys had a pretty daggone good defense in those days, which helped us quite a bit.
Coach, if Johnny Manziel was right here, and this will be our last question, I know you got to run. If Johnny Manziel was here right now and you could give him any advice, what would you say to Johnny Football?
Well, I think you got to get away. You got to get away from the critics. You got to get away. You got to understand that you're under a microscope now.
Yeah.
Everything you do is going to be magnified to the 10th degree. Is it right? Oh, I don't know if it's right. It's just that's one of the prices of success. And when you have success and you have fame, you have to understand how to deal with it. He's trying to figure out how to deal with it right now. Has he made some mistakes? Oh, he's probably made some mistakes. Are they as great as the media made him out to be? I'm not sure that's true. I think he's got a good coach in Kevin down there at A&M, and I think he'll be on the right track, and I think he'll do the right things. This kid he's an exceptional athlete,
mm-hmm.
and everything came to him so quick. And sometimes that's pretty hard on anybody. This is a young man. I mean, he's not like he's been around forever. I mean, he's played 1 year, and then he's had all the success you could have. So It kind of overwhelms you, and I think he's got to get away from that and take a step back and look at himself and say, what do I really want to do with the rest of my career? What do I want to be known for? The fact that I won one Heisman Trophy, or the fact that maybe I won 2 or 3 and we won a national championship? So
yes.
I think he has to look at it that way.
That's why you're a coach, Coach.
Makes a lot of sense. Just follow that up. 1983, of course, you made news. You broke a hand punching a locker at halftime. In 85, you had a DWI arrest. Now, the microscope, the way it is now, do you think that would have had more of an impact on your coaching career at the time?
Well, the broken hand, no, that was nothing. I was trying to.
That's passion. That's passion, Coach.
I was trying to make a point. Now, the DWI thing was also stupid as can be because we had played the 49ers out there, and we beat them and came back. You're flying from California to Chicago, and I was drinking beer, I guess, and when I got in the car, I mean, I wasn't the best, and the cop was dead right. I was wrong. That's all there is to it. You don't do those things. So, I was fortunate, to be able to do something like that and get away with it. I mean, get away with it in the sense of not hurting somebody and doing something stupid. And I just got pulled over. He thought, fine, it's okay. It was embarrassing. There's no question it was embarrassing. Could he have given me a pass? Yeah, he could have given me a pass. Should he? No, he should have given me a pass. I mean, I deserved it, so that's the way it is.
Well, we're all human. We're going to make mistakes. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to plug your website, MikeDitka.com, because, we talked about coaches' entrepreneurial aspects. You can order the steaks. You can order the Ditka cigars, the Ditka wines, everything right there at MikeDitka.com. Coach, seriously, from the heart, we appreciate you doing this with us. You are the man, and you're a legend. We appreciate you being on the Rise Guys.
I'll tell you guys, thank you, and I'm smoking one of those cigars right now.
Very nice. Thank you, Coach. Have a good afternoon.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.